This is exciting because I have been communicating with Ayla since we first had Gaby Jordan on, it's been a while. It's several.
Has been a while.
Mhm.
Yeah, she was probably in our first year of this. So Ayla and I have been communicating since then. Gaby is with Human Better EDU, and we had Sarah. What's Sarah's last name?
Sarah Filler. Yep.
It's Sarah Filler,
Yep.
who's also with Human Better EDU. And now
Mhm.
we have Ayla, who has been stepping into a little bit of a new role, and excited to have her here tonight.
Thank you. Yes, and you also had Casey Seidenberg before,
Oh,
after
right,
Gaby,
right.
before Sarah.
Yes.
So
Uh-huh.
it's nice. We're always happy to be on.
You guys have a great group, and so we're excited that you're stepping into the role of being on this side of the camera instead of the back side doing all
It's
the
new. It's
chat.
exciting.
Yeah, I love it. Well, let me introduce you. Ayla Davidson is the director of operations, and she's the life coach for Human Better EDU. And she is been working alongside the president, which we've been mentioning, Gaby, since 2018. In all things, she seeks a life of deliberate creation and conscious learning. As a teaching artist since 2009, Ayla has shared her love of theater in schools and communities across the East Coast and abroad, including New York City, DC, rural Maine, Germany, and Italy. And she currently teaches drama enrichment and directs an annual variety show at a local elementary school. Big props to you for that.
Thank you. It's fun.
And Ayla believes the most powerful learning happens through experiences and emotion, a philosophy that informs both of her coaching and her teaching. She holds a Master's of Arts in Teaching and a Bachelor of Arts from Bennington College, and she lives in Connecticut with her husband and her two young sons. So thank you so much for fitting us in, actually, because it sounds like you're super busy.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I'm excited to be able to exercise this part of my human role with Human Better EDU.
I love
And it's true, I've been a fan of Naomi's work for quite a few years now, since Gaby started. And I am just proud to support anyone who is supporting educators. I'm deeply grateful for all the work of educators, both because I was raised by two educator parents. I've worked, as you said, as a teaching artist myself, which just kind of puts you in all sorts of different roles and all sorts of different educational spaces. And then most recently, a whole new outlook on education to be the parent of school-aged children.
It puts you in a whole different spot, doesn't it, when you've been
It
a
really
parent?
does. It
I
really does.
communicated for a school district for I don't remember how many years before my daughter was born, and it shifts your narrative quite a bit when you're in
Yes,
a different role. Yeah, for sure.
it's
Um,
a helpful balance.
yes. So you're talking kind of tonight about like speaking to be heard and the balance of truth and tact in education. And I think tact tact has been left off for quite a while. And it's not just in education, it's in a bigger dialogue happening across for sure in the United States, but even bigger than that. So, but why don't you start with telling us, like, what does it mean to speak with truth and tact?
Yes, so you're exactly right. It is a balance, and it's funny that your tact has come up before, right? And some of us actually identify more with the truth side and then aren't heard. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about. If you're unbalanced, the consequences, and then how you can look at what you're saying to try to make sure that you've got both in there and get your message across. Because we know as educators, they have so many different constituents to communicate with. They're communicating with parents and students and colleagues and administrators, not to mention everyone in their personal lives. So effective communication is really key to every successful relationship, and managing that blend of truth and tact is crucial. So we like to say the truth is the language of the head, right? That's the core message, the belief, or the request in the conversation.
Mm.
It represents your perspective, your needs, your feedback. And then the other side is the tact. This is really the language of the heart. So this is where expressing your thoughts with kindness, with empathy, and a constructive intent comes in. And having the tact in there keeps the conversation open and encourages an understanding, right? A back and forth.
Oh yeah. I
It's
There's so
good.
much
Coming
love
to
and
light.
opportunity in here. In truth and tact. I spoke to 250 superintendents that were part of rural Oklahoma today.
Oh, wow.
And I was teaching them about communication skills, right? Like to how
Mhm.
to story tell. And after me were like, and sprinkled throughout on the agenda were all of the people running for public office. And and I believe that some of them were missing tact. They
Yeah.
were trying really hard in there to speak with tact. It felt more like one-sided truth. So how do we navigate that so you don't have to lose who you are, right? Like there's a balance. So how do you navigate, how do you walk that?
Yeah, well, you're absolutely right that if you're speaking without tact, the comments might come across as really harsh, triggering, even
Yes.
put the person they're speaking to in the defensive right away, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
those are kind of keys of indicators that you've spoken with too much tact. On the flip side, you're speaking with too much truth. Your communication can be confusing or misleading, and the message doesn't quite land as you've intended it to.
Mm.
And yeah, you're unclear. Um, so if you want to look at balancing both of them, you have to think about it ahead of time, right? So it kind of depends on which way you lean. And most of us naturally lean to one or the other. For me personally, I tend to speak with too much tact. So my questions start with, if it's not too much trouble, or if you don't
Um,
mind, right? Or,
uh,
if you want to, or if that works out for you. And it's just kind of backpedaling, and the listener is left with not a clear message, not a clear ask, and
okay.
probably I'm left feeling unheard and possibly resentful, right?
Aha.
So,
Yes.
so
Ooh,
if I need to add some more, I need to add some more tact into my conversation.
got
The
it.
strategies for that are just be more clear and direct
Okay.
with your needs, right? You speak assertively and ensure that your points are understood. And you can do that by actually asking the other person to summarize your message and confirm their
Mm.
understanding, which is not something that comes naturally to everybody, right? So being clear and direct is definitely an art. So you might even want to write it out ahead of time, practice what you're going to say, and then just cut out all the extra. So if I'm trying to make a request, I'll type it out and then just
Uh-huh.
literally slash through that if that works for you, or this, get directly to the point, and then your tact will come through if you're naturally a tactful person. So in your assertive and direct ask.
Ooh, those are good. Those are very good. So what else can you do if you lean one way or the other and having too much what else is there other tips that you would give people?
Yeah. Why to flip to the other side to say if you have too much truth,
Mhm.
right? You might be someone who's considered bossy, or people are grumbling behind your back, right?
Uh,
Someone says yes to you, but then they're acting like they don't want to be there.
mm,
If you've had a conversation and it feels harsh or cold afterwards, or the person has become defensive or upset, or they've left
uh,
kind of withdrawn, those might be some clues that there was a little too much tact and not enough, I mean, too much truth and not enough tact in there, right? So if you want to bring in some more compassion towards the other person,
mm.
that'll help with your tact. You always want to approach with curiosity from their perspective and use,
Ooh, that's good.
yeah.
Curiosity is always good, I think. It helps you with questions like to really understanding the person, right?
Exactly. It fosters the connection. So if you start with, hey, I felt this way when you said that.
Mm.
This is my perception. How did you see it?
Ooh,
Or,
that's good.
yeah, so you're like starting from your point of view and your perspective, and then inviting them to share their side of the story. Um, and yeah, that's leading from the compassion and curiosity. You're making connection with them, hopefully putting them at ease, letting them relax a bit. And then ideally, they're speaking from the heart themselves as well. You're more likely to reach a point of resolution there rather than kind of just coming at each other.
Yeah, because then it
Angry.
becomes this, right?
Yeah, exactly. Too much
Um,
conflict.
I don't I don't even know. So how do you incorporate this into your framework as an educator so that you're able to use it really every day? Like build it into your life.
Yeah, well, so like we mentioned, educators have so many different people that they're talking with, right? And so I've just kind of thought through if you're speaking to your students, then you just might want to remember they're people too, right? And we're modeling some healthy communication, which is one of the greatest skills that we can give our students,
Right?
in giving constructive feedback and in setting boundaries with students. Speaking to colleagues, you might be giving constructive feedback to them, and you want to find this balance of truth and tact. You might be making requests of them. I have an example from my own work about making these requests. When I was working on it, like I said, I identified with too much tact usually.
Mhm.
And I like to say that through coaching, I've discovered I am a recovering people pleaser, right? What someone who likes to, what I said was, I am desperate for dopamine. I'm looking for compliments, acceptance, feeling useful, feeling needed. And when I acted like that, it wasn't my true self. This isn't really how I wanted to show up, right? So
Okay.
as I did the work to uncover that trait, I had to work on putting in more truth to my conversations.
Okay.
So for me, I had to like get myself pumped up to put that truth in. And so what happened was I told myself I was going to be clear, I'm going to be direct. I might be a little nervous at first, and it's not, something that I'm used to. And so what resulted was I kind of swung in the other direction, and what would come then I would come across as short and curt and not really me.
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah,
way off to the other side of the pendulum,
the
huh?
pendulum swung to the other side. And most often, I'll say this happened with like my family, my sisters, and my husband, but also with my colleagues, when I was really trying to like push out the truth. And we affectionately named this my doormat to bulldozer trait, right? I went from being way too much tact to way too much
People
truth.
walked all over you. Yeah.
hmm So it really took some practice to balance both. And for me, the writing it down really helped.
Okay, so writing it down helps, but
hmm
how do you practice it in real life without I don't know, do you let people know you're practicing
Yeah,
it?
absolutely. I mean, so I liked what was it Grace a couple speakers ago was also talking about setting boundaries, and she said start with the small boundaries first.
Okay.
Similarly, I would say to start with your solid relationships first, someone that you
Oh,
trust and
okay.
someone you know well, and and take it slow with them and practice with them. And you can absolutely tell them, because chances are the first time you try this, it is not going to land the way that you intend.
That's what I was thinking. It's gonna come across feeling a little um non-authentic, right?
Or just not, yeah, not authentic to you, not like
Right.
you,
Not
right?
authentic to you in your normal
Mhm.
spot. Yes.
Yeah, and if that's the
Okay.
case, that is totally fine. Like we are working on adjusting behaviors here. That is going to happen whenever you try something new. And so then the thing to remember is that it's on you to go back to that person and kind of do some cleanup and try it again, right? And you can say that. You can own that I haven't always been a person who speaks with a lot of truth. I'm trying something different. It might sound like, yesterday I was trying to talk to you about setting boundaries with my work time, and it didn't come out the way I intended. It was way too harsh. I didn't ask you for your thoughts, and I'm really sorry about that. Of course, I want to hear about your weekend. I didn't want to make you feel like that. Can we just circle back and try that again? Right?
Uh,
And I totally get that that feels kind of awkward or a little bit clunky in the moment. And that's okay. What's important is that you're being honest and open and you're working on that communication. So ideally, that leads to a more healthy relationship if this person is open to the back and forth.
I could see this working with parents, like
Yes,
parent communication.
yes,
Right? Can you
yes.
like do a dialogue where you would think that that would work for parents?
Yeah, it's interesting
teacher?
you bring that up because I had that as an example, and
Oh,
so I have sat in on several IEP PPT meetings. I think they call them different things throughout in
yeah.
different states, but for your IEP
Yes.
plan. And as someone who speaks with a lot of tact, I wasn't heard. Right? It was, yeah, sure, we'll get to that, and then move right on to the next thing.
Uh-huh.
Those meetings, if you've ever sat in them, require a bit more tact than I was used to giving. And so I had to just take what I needed to say, again, write it down, and then cross out anything that was a request or a question, and then make sure that it was just a clear statement, and say, this is what my child needs. This is what we will be doing. I will be following up in 2 weeks, whatever the request is. And of course, my tact really showed through still. Of course, I'm still leading with that connection, that curiosity, being generous, gratitude for their time and their skills, but then also just having that clear ask in there makes you get the balance of both.
Wow, that's good. That's such a great example. I'm glad you had that.
It's funny. Yeah, I wasn't sure, but
No, it's perfect. Like, that was a perfect fit because I
mhm,
think that's another place where and I also see, like, we talk about teaching teachers how to do this, but where, I mean, like, it could also serve to teach our parents how to walk down these paths. I feel like sometimes we shy away from helping our parents become partners.
as coaches, like as educators, like parents don't know what they don't know. That's
Oh,
been my biggest learning this year. And
right?
yes, I really I've had to ask, so from the parents' side point of
Mhm.
view, I've just had to say, hey, I'm a communicator. I will take as much information as you will give me, and I would like to give you as much information as you want. What's the best way that you like to receive it? Do you like a phone call once a week? Would you prefer I put things in an email? Like, I'm open to texting, whatever works for them. I know educators and service providers have so much on their plate. My goal was to make a relationship and find a way to communicate that really works between us. And so I did lean on this framework because I wanted to make sure I was clear and direct, and also, of course,
So
kind
good.
and compassionate. Yeah.
Yes.
And
That
I
that
really do.
I
I think we forget that like you went to the teacher with that, but I think we
Mhm.
forget that we get to train parents how to
parents.
communicate with us. Like
Yes.
we get to say, okay, so here's how I'm going to communicate with you. Here's how I would like to receive communication from you that is going to allow me to get it in a timely fashion, to respond to you in a timely fashion, to understand
Mhm.
what's going on. And so I think like you said, parents don't know what parents don't know. And so I think, especially as we get to like the middle school and high school level, we think that the kids should be doing the communication. And the reality is the kids are not telling their parents squat.
No, I would imagine not.
So
Yes.
like we've
Pulling
got to continue that.
it's pulling teeth out here. I can
Mhm.
hear it right
Yes.
there.
And I would hope that it's only to the teacher's benefit to be able to receive information in a way that works for them, right? Because they're all professionals with their own style and their own, history of what they know works for parents. I mean, if I get to have the ear of some educators, I would say, please request of your parents what works for you. That is going to build the best communication style from the very beginning of the school year. At least in elementary school, we usually get a nice letter from our teachers that say, welcome, please send in
Yeah.
2 snacks and all those things, and pop in your favorite style of communication. Like, I'm a phone person. Just pick up the phone and call me. Here's my 2 hour, 2 hours a month that I'm available. Please put your boundaries around it, or whatever it is that you need for boundaries. And then let parents come to you with ideally information that will help everyone to be able to work better together. So
So
that'd be
good.
my pitch, my request. Yeah.
It's so good. It really is.
Mhm.
So, um, what other recommendations do you have for navigating, like, difficult conversations that, that maybe some of the teachers are not wanting to have? Um, because they know they're going to be hard. Like how do you walk that tightrope with your families, with an administrator, with whomever, right?
Mhm. Yeah, well, so we have a much broader framework called how to have a champion conversation. And we call them that because when you sit down and take the time to design the conversation, to set the intention, and to really script out what you're going to say, they are so much more successful, right? And it doesn't have to be a lot of time. In fact, I have renamed these my mini champion conversations because I am someone who will sit down and work on it for way too long. But just making sure that you're starting with that point of connection, right? You're going to find some common ground. Like we're in the IEP meetings, we are all here because we want what's best for this student, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
That's true of everybody. And then if you have anything, I'm happy to share the framework, but if you have any part to own about it, like probably could have brought this up earlier in the year, right? Or I get that you might have been hearing things from your students or from your child, and I haven't brought it up. So and it just goes through the framework, but starting with that connection and then sharing if there's anything that you need to own or get out first and then coming to that ask with your balance of truth and tact. And I have one little note that I wanted to add about tone. This was a big one for me because when I get like a little bit annoyed or a little bit frustrated, my whole tone changes. So it doesn't matter how much tact is in there, it's gonna come out like, hey,
Yeah.
you forgot to reload the copier with paper. You think you could do that better next time? It's like it doesn't matter how much tact is in there, they're gonna know she's annoyed. Um, and especially this one was much more with my husband. Still working on it. That you've got to really think about the tone of how you're delivering something so that the
Mm,
receiver can listen and hear it in the best way.
yeah.
Um,
That tone is
yeah.
big. And then I also I would add to that. So are like I'm facial expressions. I know people can see what I'm thinking.
Yes.
My face
Yes.
is the subtitles to what my mouth isn't
I have
saying.
Oh, I
subtitles
love
running.
that.
Yeah.
Yes. Your expressions are your subtitles. Beautiful.
Yep, that
It's
is good,
true.
Naomi.
That just goes back to the practice, right? Like you got to write it down, get yourself in the right headspace, take some deep breaths, go outside, whatever you need to do before you have this conversation,
And
even
the
if it's a
same
short one.
holds true for that on texting, on email, because you cannot translate tone in it.
No, and yeah, we do
Come
say,
across wrong.
right. In fact, we do advise against having any sort of champion conversation
Oh,
anywhere
that's
but face
good
to face.
advice for everybody to know, to
Yeah.
not have a championship conversation for text or email.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
because I think a lot of time, and I think I see this more and more and more, is people think, oh, my cell phone, whatever, is my like I'm just gonna take the easy way out of a
Mhm.
conversation where I
Yeah.
don't have to be the bad guy, or I don't you know what I'm saying? Or
Exactly. Or
and I
have the
think,
follow-up. I mean, it's the dialogue that
yeah,
happens after you have the upset that's the
yeah.
important part. You want to get to the resolution. You can't do that in a one-way text or email, right?
No,
Yeah.
no, and,
So,
it's like the same thing with keyboard warriors or whatever, um,
yeah, no.
it
Just
just
get it into person. I mean, you can ask for a conversation via text, or you can shoot an email and say, "Hey, you want to grab coffee after work?" That's a good way to set it up. But then the actual
yeah,
conversation is in person. And then I would just say to observe yourself, observe your results with these conversations, right? So if you go away and what I'll have for a handout is these tips on how to have a conversation with truth and tact, how to balance it out. Once you start practicing it, observe the results that you get, right? And if you want to take note of the conversations that are yielding the results you want versus the ones that are not, and just keep tweaking and playing with it.
that's awesome. So you're gonna able to kind of figure out and rank yourself where you are and where you could you could improve.
Yeah, exactly. Because we're all constantly learning and it is definitely seeking a balance. Yeah.
That's so great. Wow. Here goes another conversation that just flew by.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
how did we get to the end of this already?
I know they're fast.
So that's your free gift is for everybody, the checklist on how to have that conversation. And Naomi's put the link in the chat, so be sure to grab that. It sounds
Yeah.
amazing. And I'm gonna do a check because everybody that's come through from Human Better EDU has been amazing. And
Wonderful.
we're
Thank you.
we're so grateful that you came.
Yeah, thank you for hosting this. It's just such a gift for teachers, and I'm really excited about Monday. I'm excited for myself as well as for all the VIPs who are going to join. So I
Yes.
appreciate you guys so much. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you,
we
Ayla. This is
appreciate
so
you.
fantastic to finally like see you.
Yes,
Still not in person, although you are not far from me. You're in Connecticut and I'm in New Hampshire.
I
So
have read that. Yeah, I've seen that. It's true. So enjoy the foliage this weekend. It's gorgeous.